As you might be aware, trying to get mental health professionals, lawyers, really most of the legal and therapeutic professionals surrounding family court to understand what's happening in your family and what to do about it. In other words, leveraging professional support and ultimately reuniting with your alienated kids is a major, major problem for alienated parents. Parental alienation is a global crisis, and this space is absolutely flooded with coaches and therapists and psychologists and forensic psychologists and lawyers, judges who are lawyers, courses, a lot of hype, all promising to help you get results. But ultimately, they're just adding to your overwhelm, frustration, and confusion. And you're probably apprehensive in trusting people because you've been through the emotional and financial ringer. So every day we speak to parents who've gone through so many different programs and courses and mental health providers and therapy and reunification therapy and court. And they've worked with so many supposed professionals, and they're all saying the same thing, that they keep talking to people and they keep going to therapy, they keep doing things and getting zero results. We just had somebody on my team speak with a woman recently who's been working with a coach for 18 months, and she has received zero results from working with this coach. So when she was asked what's working, she said nothing. She said the coach even offered to get on a call with the alienated child. I almost fell out of my chair when I was listening to the call. And quite honestly, this is not going to land with your children. And this may sound exciting to you as a parent, like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to talk to my child. But if a coach you're working with thinks that they're going to somehow, or even, yeah, coach, we'll just talk about coach, that they're just going to help you reunite with your children by jumping on a phone call, run. That's not going to land well. As a formerly alienated child myself, and having other young adults who were formerly alienated from one and some both of their parents who reunited, I can assure you that we all say the same thing. That will cause me to run as fast as I can and not reunite. So whether you are here because you've been struggling or you're trying to find solutions and you want to know how to ally the professionals working with your family, you're in the right spot. But if you think that getting in a convince and resist dance with your children who are resisting is going to somehow help, it in fact will actually cause matters to be worse. Can you imagine what your kids would think if you have some rando coach on the call trying to convince them that you've been alienated or that you should reunite with your parent? It doesn't go well. It's just not a good idea. But it reminded me of this call today, this session today, and how often we as parents hear things from professionals in our community to lure us into believing that they can do something for us that they technically can't really do. And so I hear these questions a lot from parents who contact us, how do I get the therapist to support me in reunification? I'm in reunification therapy, but it's not working. What type of coaching or counseling or therapy services might help me? And how can I find the right professionals to support my family? And who's going to do the assessment and diagnosis that Dr. Childress talks about? And, parents all over the world call us with these questions, and we hear it all of the time. And the truth is, I don't know who's going to assess and diagnose because they're not doing it. And so the fact of the matter is there are really not many mental health professionals who understand this family dynamic and know what to do about it, especially the professionals who've chosen to stand and work in this space. And the truth is the struggles that you're having of feeling helpless and stuck because there are some people or so many people, they're making these promises and claims. They're claiming to be experts in parental alienation. There are many parents believe that their children hate them, or they're listening to the therapist who says, why don't you just wait around for them to come around someday, or maybe family members. But the most repugnant are the professionals. So the mental health providers that are saying to parents, um, you know, why don't you just let them come and go as they please? Why don't you just lay off? In other words, just let your child go. Let them be with the abusive parent and don't do anything about it. Don't worry, divorce is hard on the kids. They'll come around someday. And the professionals surrounding the divorce space, the especially with high conflict families, are completely clueless on how to solve this problem. And everyone is fighting about being an expert. So the professionals act like they can help. And the truth is they can't, because they don't know how. And they're focused on all of the wrong issues. They're focused on issues that aren't real issues. And if this sounds familiar, it's because it's a common epidemic globally. And in all my experience of working with alienated parents and children and really truly providing solutions to reunite, I hear these struggles and pain all the time. We sent an email out to the people that subscribe to our list, and we got so much feedback, so much people suffering in this area more than any of the others. We got a lot of people wanting to know, how do I ally the professionals in my family, with my family in my case, the mental health providers, the lawyers, the judges. And the truth is, this is a symptom of a much greater issue. And it's the issue of having a clear plan. So in order to get where you want to go, you need to know where it is that your destination is. So you need to know what you want, and you have to have a plan. You need a roadmap to get there. And we've been guiding parents since 2006 to recover their children in all facets of this family dynamic. Whether you're just starting out, whether you have adult children, whether you've been alienated for decades or days, whether you're in the court system or not. We've been helping parents for a really long time. We've also been training professionals, so trained coaches on methodologies that we use to recover families, and especially the children, and resurfacing the unbreakable bond. And today I really want to talk to you about the professional ally and show you how it works. And the professional ally blueprint is one piece of the Reconnect roadmap. So for those of you that have been following along here on YouTube or in the Alliance to Solve Parental Alienation, the first things that clients on this path have to do is to do proper research to find the qualified professionals who specialize in this family dynamic. And there's this dirty little secret that the bona fide experts don't want you to know, and they want you to research being an expert in parental alienation. And the truth is, parental alienation is complicated, and it has long-term consequences and effects on both you and your children, both of the parents and the children. And as you've been seeking the help from competent professionals who are experienced to handle your family and your cases, hiring somebody who can handle parental alienation under the guise of an expert is a fool's errand. And many professionals claim to be experts in handling parental alienation cases, but they truly lack the necessary skills, knowledge, and process required to successfully resolve this family dynamic. And so one of the main reasons that is because parental alienation is not a diagnosable pathology. And if you've been following me for a while, you know this. If you've been in the Alliance to Solve Parental Alienation, you know this. We use it here because it's the vernacular that you know. However, in a professional setting with mental health providers and lawyers in family court, if you fall down the parental alienation rabbit hole, you're going to end up empty handed. So when you're researching potential professional allies, it can save you a lot of time and money to not use the vernacular of parental alienation. Now, when you're searching for professionals to handle your case, consider the qualifications and experiences of dealing with actually fully recovering a child from child psychological abuse, from family trauma. Okay. Many say they know and understand what parental alienation is. And there's an entire cottage industry of people preying on you with no solution. And many people are copying content that we put out, and they're clueless about how to actually guide you through implementing the step by step process. I'm not kidding. Every day, I'm seeing more and more people crop up, people making claims that I know are not true. And it's a really scary world out there. When I first started doing this work, I was the first person on Facebook to have a group called Let's Get Your Kids Back. And it was a group to help alienated parents. And I remember crying with my coach and, my business coach saying, there's nobody out there talking about parental alienation. And this was a long time ago when that's all there was, when Richard Gardner's formulation of parental alienation was all that we knew. And there were the dirty dozen. I call them that. I think it's funny. I think one of my clients called the Gardnerians the dirty dozen. And so I can't take full credit for it because somebody else said it to me, but I like to use it because it makes me laugh. But I quickly discovered in my own journey that there was no solution, not even a pathway to achieve a solution. Just a bunch of people wanting to be significant and being an expert, and so much ego in the space. And it's really sad. And some of those people have passed away. Some of those people are still in the space. Some new people are using that same vernacular in the space and the model. But I can tell you from doing this work since 2006 that model doesn't work. It creates so much chaos and discord in your family, and it creates chaos and discord in the family court and in the therapeutic community. It leads to no solution. And when you go down a path that's fruitless and pointless, it leads to additional suffering for you. And look at the track record of success. Read the reviews from their clients, and they're all glad handing each other, the colleagues, they all write and support each other. And they don't really have an approach that's really resolving this type of conflict. Our clients love us because we have a structured path and we can quickly see where you're stuck and point you in the right direction on the roadmap to recover your children. And it's not important only to not only find qualified professionals, but also ones who align with your values and your beliefs regarding how you're parenting. So you want to ensure that they understand the importance of maintaining a strong relationship between both the parents and the children while working through reunification. Now, you need to do your research and work with people who understand that this is a child protection issue and not a child custody issue. So ultimately, going through and doing your research before hiring a professional will really give you the peace of mind knowing that your case is being handled by someone experienced in not only dealing with the pathology that your family is experiencing, but how to actually solve it. So remember that this process may take a little time. And so you need to be able to cultivate patience. And we're going to talk about that next week. But it's critically important that as you're moving through this entire journey towards reunification with your child, that you're working with professionals who actually know how to help you get there. Okay? The right people on your team that have a right strategy, can point you in the right direction and give you the steps you need to take so that you can move forward in reuniting with your children. Step 2 in the professional ally, after you do your research and you have an understanding, is once you have the right professional team, then you'll need help in actually recovering your children. So you need somebody who's actively engaged as a leader of your treatment team so that you can be the leader of your family as the chosen parent. So, as the chosen parent, if you don't know what that is, the chosen parent is you, the alienated parent, the parent the child is choosing to lead your family out of the pathology. And you're the leader of the treatment team. You're the leader leading the therapeutic and legal professionals on the right path to do the right things. So it's not enough to just hire a lawyer. It's not enough to hire a therapist for your child, or a reunification therapist. It's not enough for them to just know about parental alienation or the claims of being an expert. We all know how useless that is. Many of you have already been down this path because we get calls every single day, hundreds of emails from people. I'm in reunification therapy. It's not working. Can you recommend a reunification therapy? The court ordered reunification therapy. The court ordered a guardian ad litem. The court ordered minors counsel. The court is ordering all these interlopers, and none of them are helping you. And then we try to tell you, and you don't listen. And then 6 months, a year later, somebody 4 years later just called us. They went down the path of an evaluator to reunification therapy to a guardian ad litem to eventually having minors counsel, back to another evaluator. Now they're another reunification therapy. I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous and it is useless. Alienation is a complex and challenging issue that will impact you and your children for the rest of your life. However, it is not a diagnosable pathology, so the lawyers and the therapists who are focused on that vernacular are practicing below professional standards, and they're luring you in and leading you down a path that will not solve anything for you. So when you're faced with this type of crisis, it's crucial for you as a parent to have the proper research under your belt and to hire the competent professionals so that you can help navigate them, point them in the right direction through the therapeutic and legal process. And in doing so, they're more likely to achieve positive outcomes and resolving the problem with you and for you. So it's essential as a parent, as an alienated parent, to take an active role as the leader of your family during the legal and therapeutic process. And once you've hired the right professionals, this means being able to demonstrate your role as the authentically loving and protective parent, while also working collaboratively with the professionals, such as the lawyers, the therapists, and the mediators, and even coaches. So as a leader of the family in this context, it's important for you to communicate effectively with all of the people involved resolve the alienation. And this includes communicating clearly about what the expectations are, the goals, the challenges faced by both of you, both parents and the children, and progress made, if you've made any so far, and any setbacks that you've experienced during the treatment sessions and or court proceedings. You need to know how you got where you are right now. And you need to be empowered as your chosen parent, as the leader, so that you can guide these professionals through the proper process. So without sounding like a know-it-all and without pushing your children further into the arms of the alienating parents because you've pissed off the incompetent professionals who are currently engaged with your case, whose egos are bruised because they have an awareness that you've done your work research and it makes them look bad. And there is no faster way to see the pathology of an incompetent professional get inflamed more than when you push their buttons by taking in what you've learned from Dr. Childress and asking them to read it. So being actively engaged as a parent requires patience and resilience, since resolving alienation, especially the way that you're doing it right now, is a long-term process. And the other parent is not motivated. There's no motive, they're not motivated to solve it. And the mental health providers and the lawyers, they're not the guardian ad litem's lawyers, minors counsel lawyers. Most of these people are lawyers or mental health providers. There's no motivating drive for them to resolve anything for you. The longer they keep you stuck, the longer they keep you paying to keep you stuck. Okay? You must remain committed throughout this entire journey, despite the setbacks encountered along the way, which happens obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And so you've got to go the distance. And in order to go the distance, you need to follow a process. You need to know how to get from A to B and B to C so you can recover your children. And hiring competent professionals who specialize in treating the pathology is like finding a needle in the haystack. And so the professional ally blueprint really takes you into the specific things that you need to do and say to ally the people you're working with now, or to get the people to work with you that you want to work with. And one of the amazing results that we have seen with this process is one of three outcomes. You ally the professionals that are working with you now, and they get on board and they recover your children. They drop you like a hot potato because they realize you know that you've exposed them. And now they see that you're more dangerous to their livelihood than the pathogenic parent. Or they leave the case and refer you to someone else who can help you actually create the opportunity and lead the new professional properly into solving this with you. So don't be afraid to let people who are not helping you go. Okay. Don't be afraid to fire the mental health providers and even the lawyers. Okay. Don't be afraid to hire people who only want you to do the same thing that they've always done and garners no positive results. It is okay to let those people go. Most of you who have, and we've talked to a lot of you who've marched into the therapist's office and said, oh, here's a diagnostic checklist, or here's foundations from Dr. Childress, or blah, 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 whatever the noise, the stuff is, the good content, you're trying to educate them. Because of the way you're doing that, they're using that against you. And instead of getting one of the positive results that I just shared with you, you're getting the negative result, which is you're enacting their pathology, you're poking at it, and it's activated, and they're digging in their heels. Because if they accept what you're saying as truth, then they have to look at an entire career that they've been in, harming hundreds of families, maybe even thousands. Okay? So how you do this is critically important. And we go through this step by step in the professional ally blueprint. And you should not be in therapy for years and years. It should not take months and months and years to solve this problem. Reunification also does not happen in a vacuum. So if you or your children are seeing somebody individually for reunification therapy, that's not a real form of therapy anyway. But if you're doing that, you're wasting your time and your money. That is not going to solve anything. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. You cannot reunite people in reunification therapy with one person showing up, or child therapy, and then they start to listen to the wishes of the child. So when you're armed with the professional ally blueprint, you're ready to tackle getting empowered and then empowering the professionals to assist you in actually recovering your family, to stop getting addicted or hooked into the false narrative. And this is just one part of addressing this challenge effectively, and taking this active leadership role as the chosen parent within your family will really ensure that you work collaboratively towards achieving positive outcomes. So you have to have a plan. Without it, you're just simply throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping that it sticks. perfect. And I know that that does not work. And it's important for you as the chosen parent not only to find solutions, but to organize yourself and the plan around these solutions so that you can organize them around the experts, around the professionals, while remaining focused on what matters most, restoring the healthy relationship between you and your children. I can't tell you how many people we speak to that have the same exact story. That you go to therapy and the therapist is focusing on something that didn't happen, and down the rabbit hole you go. Well, you need to apologize. Well, they don't want to speak to you. They're not comfortable. Well, they don't want you to talk about this. Well, they say the child says you know what you did, and you're like, I don't know what I did. Can I talk to the child? Well, they don't want to talk to you. So we'll do reunification therapy, and you can show up, but they're not going to say anything to you, and they don't want to hear what you have to say, but they're coming because you're forcing them to. I literally listened to a call last week, and this is what it was. It's so important for you as the chosen parent, not only to understand that role, but to really, really integrate what I'm teaching you here as part of who you are so you can stand in your power. Many of you are experiencing the outcomes that the current incompetent mental health professionals and lawyers all around you, guardian ad litems, minors counsel, therapists, reunification therapists, hiring parental alienation experts, hiring parental alienation coaches, people who are now therapists and coaches, people who claim to be coaches, and so many people copying what I've been talking about for almost 2 decades and pretending like they know how to guide you and help you implement. And I watched a video a couple days ago of a woman who claims to be an alienated child when I know she's not. And I watched this video of this woman who's claiming to be married and now divorced, and I know that that's not true, and claiming that they're successfully helping people reunite when I know the people that she's referring to, I actually coached and helped reunite. I saw someone marketing where they said, I'm just copying what other people do who've been successful doing it, except they're copying with the surface level stuff. They're not really going deep. They don't have the full roadmap and the pieces each step requires and the experience. And of course, that's the plight of anyone doing great work in the world, is there will always be knockoffs and copycats and people trying to do this work. And it's great. There's a lot of people suffering, but knowing who is actually effective and who isn't can be a challenging experience for parents. And I know that because I remember what it was like when I first started out. And I remember what it was like trying to find a solution, and there wasn't one. And there's one thing missing from all of the people who've been popping up over the last decade or so, which is the third step in the professional ally blueprint. And this is the last step in the blueprint, which is learning how those who actually incorporate the professional advice into your personal growth and relationship building toolbox as the chosen parent. You see, I coined the phrase the chosen parent in 2017 at a conference I was speaking at. And, the conference was about 300 plus therapists, psychologists, lawyers, and parents. And I was presenting about solutions. And I was one of the last speakers of the day, and everybody had been sitting there listening to therapists and psychologists and lawyers speaking blah, blah, blah about parental alienation. And Dr. Childress spoke, and he's very, he's like a professor, right? So he teaches like a professor. He's got all the facts. He's very clinical, right? And then there was me. And I could tell people were tired and it was a really long day. And I started my talk, and I just started with, what if I told you the professional community has been lying to you and you're not targeted parents, but you're the chosen parent? Now stick with me here and let me explain. What if you've been lost, dazed, confused because the professional community benefited from holding you stuck. So they made up a new pathology called parental alienation. And now there are all these experts in this new problem. And they use this new made up term to create chaos and confusion and to give you enough information to make you feel heard and understood and not really providing a diagnostic model that everyone could follow, just enough anecdotal information to lure you in. And you fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Don't worry, me too. So, what if I told you the way they keep you coming back for more trickery is by getting you to think that they have a solution? So, they created a whole new industry of professionals just for you, forensic psychologists, custody evaluators, reunification therapists. And they made you believe that these people know that they're going to help you and they know how. So you jump in and you're spending all your money on legal fees and forensic psychologist reports and custody evaluations. And they don't really have a solution. So they created the new form of therapy, reunification therapy, which, by the way, is not an authentic form of therapy. But how many of you are in reunification therapy? A lot of you. How many of you have an actual legal document where the court actually orders you into reunification therapy? So you fall down the rabbit hole only to emerge months and sometimes years later, penniless and still no relationship with your children. A lot of people worse off than before they went into therapy, and they get you to focus on something else. Look over here, look over here. You're the targeted parent. You're the problem. Apologize for things you haven't done. Feel familiar? Sound familiar? It's disgusting and frustrating, and it's the truth. And I want to share a story with you about an alienated child who in 2006 rose up out of the rubble. And she's this fierce lioness protecting her cubs. She went through a divorce in 2003 and started to notice that was happening to her as a parent. And she starts down the path that you've all been on, or probably still on, trying to find a solution, and discovered parental alienation. This little alienated girl, who's now an adult woman and a mother, she sees the problem in her family, and she sees what's happened to her with her dad, and she needs to fix it since he was diagnosed with cancer and he was dying. And she also fell for the scam, like many of you. And at last, this little girl called all the professionals, the dirty dozen, the experts, the bona fide experts in parental alienation, and was met with hostility and disdain, closed doors. The experts had no solution. What? How is that even possible? They are clever, those experts, saying to her with disdain, well, you're the child, so just reunite. Just fix it. Your children are young. Just prevent it from taking hold. She was bewildered and taken aback. So she had to find a solution or create one in the process. And she discovered about 7 years into solving the problem that the real change needed to happen, not just in the professional community, because that is an abomination, but with the parents. The person was me. If you hadn't figured that out by now and you hadn't heard my story before, it's a brief version of it. I could see what was happening. And in 2020 or 2014, when I started to really fully collaborate with Dr. Childress, I told Dr. Childress when we were filming videos, and you've probably seen them on our YouTube channel, the problem is not the professionals and their incompetency. That's only part of the problem. The real problem is the parents have been duped and they've been lulled to sleep. And so they're asleep at the wheel. They've been told that they are victims and targeted parents, and these professionals have duped them, and they've led them down a path that hasn't resolved anything for them for decades. And I saw the light bulb come on for Dr. Childress, the light bulb. He was like, "Oh, you're right." I remember we were talking, so frustrating. And so when I started the Conscious Co-Parenting Institute, I started this company with the desire to end parental alienation, to obliterate it, to wipe it out of the human consciousness. And I didn't realize at the time, because that's all the vernacular I even knew, what that fully meant and what that would mean today. And I know Dr. Childress is very vocal about using the right vernacular, and I understand that. And in a professional capacity, we do the same thing. And the truth is, my role in this is to be the big Dorothy flashlight to illuminate the truth and to guide you, beloved parents, back to your power, back to your role as the chosen parent. You're the parent the child is actually choosing to lead them out of the pathology and back to wholeness, back to the truth of unconditional love. I could see that light bulb in Dr. Childress, and I had a little flutter in my heart like, right, I know I'm right. I did not even bring that out into the world for another 3 years, still hiding myself because I was also under a full frontal attack. I get attacked by the parental alienation experts. I was afraid to stand up for myself because they were always attacking me. Little jabs here and there, the funny little dirty dozen calling me things like unqualified, that I'm not a bona fide expert. They actually all signed a 4-part article. You can look it up, called How to Find a Bona Fide Expert in Parental Alienation. And the funny thing is, they wrote that because I was thrust onto the national scene in a very high profile case where I was court ordered to recover alienated children. And the dirty dozen, the Gardnerians, they didn't like that. They didn't want exposure to the truth that there was actually a solution. And so they wrote a 4-part article. They all signed it. It's at the bottom of the article, How to Hire a Bona Fide Expert. And I remember the feeling I felt. I really wanted to be collaborative. I wanted all of us in the professional community to work together. And, that clearly wasn't the case. And I remember one of my mentors sent me an email saying to me, I tried to warn you about, the haters, and you're on your own. And what's so funny about that particular case, this mentor was involved with before and abandoned the children. He didn't want to do the work. And I did. And I recovered those kids. And that's where I really got shoved out into the world in 2014. I've been doing this work quietly, building my business and working with parents all over. And it was in that case that I really got shoved onto the global stage, if you will, in social media. And I started to gather a lot of haters. And you're on the right path. I remember in the beginning, it was really destabilizing and terrifying, much like how you feel as a targeted parent, targeted by this pathology, right? So it's destabilizing and scary. And so I had haters on the alienation side and haters on the alienation is junk science side, and haters and the pathogenic parents and all of their negative advocates, all this hatred, haters on people I had actually trained who then made false allegations against me, calling me all, saying I did terrible things I didn't do, making false claims against me. Yeah, I get it. I know what it's like to be attacked by the pathology, and it's scary. And there's a part of me that was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. What am I doing? Who am I? And there's another part of me that says every morning, who am I not to do this? You have a solution. You have a pathway forward. You know what the steps are. You know what each step the roadmap and each one of the steps are how to help people achieve reunification. You get court ordered all over the world. Who are you not to do this work? So sometimes, like you, I get scared. And I'm in that same space of, what am I doing? It's too much. I don't know if I can do it. And, and then I'm reminded of that conversation I had with Dr. Childress and seeing the light bulb come on. And that moment of standing on the stage in front of hundreds of people, and you could have heard a pin drop in that room because when I said, "You've been duped, you're not the targeted parent, you're the chosen parent," I get choked up just even thinking about it. The whole room sat up. It was visible. And I knew I was onto something, and I knew I was right. And it was such a beautiful moment. And I've been in this space with you, standing, as Dr. Childress says, on the battlefield with you, shoulder to shoulder, side by side, shining the big Dorcy flashlight. I say that. So if you don't know what that means, Dorcy is like the largest lighting company in the world and spelled the same way as my name. So I think it's funny because I really am an illuminator. I really can shine a light on the path and show you where those dark spots are, help you understand that this is where you're stuck, and to believe in yourself again, remind you who you are. And I see the level of professional incompetency, and I am disgusted. I'm as disgusted and probably more disgusted because I see it everywhere. And the difference is I refuse to allow that pathology to take me out. I refuse to allow the pathology to take my family out, to take hold of my family. So when I started my company, I wanted to end parental alienation. Again, I just had no idea that what that really meant was moving out of the shadows of the professional incompetency that all of us have experienced and into the light, the illuminated path of reconnect, of reuniting with your alienated children once and for all. You deserve that. They've been waiting for you. They love you so much. So when I put the Reconnect roadmap together, I've really taken the time to really pull all of the pieces of where we've helped our clients reunite. And I put them together in an easy to follow roadmap. And it's a professional blueprint, if you will. And the professional allied blueprint, that's just step 8 in the Reconnect process. The alienated parents reunification roadmap is a program. And it's the clearest and most predictable and proven system for anyone who is serious about doing what it takes to achieve your goals, to take proactive action from the proper foundation and reunite with your alienated kids. And we partner with each of you, each of our clients, and we work with you to achieve the steps in each level to get the desired result that you're looking for. And if this is the first time you're watching, I'm just going to show you the phases because you need a deep understanding. This isn't just a class. This isn't a class. This is a roadmap. This is a blueprint. This is a reunification blueprint. And it's in 3 phases for a reason. And let me just tell you what happens. So we utilize the first phase, which is reflection. And in the reflection phase, we have the first step, which is the alienation decoder system. And this helps parents, just like you, understand alienation from a solvable perspective. So how is it impacting your child? And most importantly, what do you do about it? So this is the foundational piece. It's the underpinning. So while alienation is the same, the pathology is the same, right? It has slightly different mechanisms in each family. So when you have the proper knowledge and understanding of your particular situation, then we can move to the next step. So the underpinning is understanding, how is this impacting you and your children? What's your story? Okay. Then we move to the emotional regulator. This process is really helping you to evaluate your personal emotions, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions so that you can take proactive action. Emotions are contagious, and knowing how to manage your emotions, this is mission critical. I was just talking to somebody on my team who spoke with somebody who was embarrassed, but knew that she was dysregulated, that she wasn't able to manage her emotions. And that's normal. We see that all of the time. So we want to guide you through really this deep process of understanding those things, how your thoughts are, what those thoughts are, and how they're driving. Where do they come from? How are they driving your feelings, which is then manifesting in your emotions? That's your physical, right? And then what you're doing about it and how the cycle happens for you specifically. So this is foundational. We've got to reflect. We need to understand these things. You can't skip this work, right? Because you'll hit a roadblock, and if you don't have the foundation to stand on, you'll crumble. Okay, so this is really important. So we get these dialed in. And then phase three, or step three in phase one, is embracing the responsibility for change as the chosen parent. So we have a beautiful responsibility framework, and it really helps you really stand on a strong foundation as a chosen parent. So this is what you specifically need to do to really embrace and design your reunification plan so that you're in the driver's seat as the chosen parent. So instead of reacting and waiting for everyone else to tell you what to do, you're actually in charge. You know exactly what you want. You know exactly where it is that you're going and how you're going to get there. Okay, this is important. So many people are blindsided by this family dynamic, running around chasing their tail and have no idea how to get there. We build the foundation first. Think about it like a house, right? You're not going to build your house. You're not going to build the walls of your house without having a foundation. What's going to hold them up, right? And you don't put a roof on your house without walls. It'll just fall on the foundation. So we've got to have the foundation. We need to know, how did we get here? What's your contribution? Your contribution is critical because we're going to help you shift how you're showing up. If you haven't heard me say that, this is mission critical for the chosen parent. You have to shift how you're showing up so you become the soft place to land for your children. Then we have your foundation built. We're going to move into the rebuild stage. And the first step is conscious communication and the mastering conscious communication. And this process ensures success so that you can master honest, assertive, open communication, and you'll learn how to say what you need to say and why it's important to say. And it's not just any old communication. It's, the right communication at the right time. One of my team members was talking to a woman, and again, this person was 18 months of coaching. And one of the things that she shared, that she advice that she got from the coach, was telling her what to say, and then this minimal amount of communication. And she said something that made me laugh. Well, we're working through this, and I'm just dripping love. I'm dripping love, and but I'm so tired of hearing that. And I know that you're tired of hearing it too. It's a kitschy phrase, this dripping love. And, of course, this is where it came from with me. Over, 12, 13 years ago, I used the vernacular of pouring unconditional love into your child. And now the same thing is dripping love, like, changing it up a little bit. It's fine. You do need to pour unconditional love into your child, but without a plan of specificity with your situation, what it means for you and your child, it's just nonsense. It's noise. It's inauthentic. It means nothing. So this is another example of how many professionals are trying to teach things that they don't know how to go deeply in. So you're spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. It's a waste of time and money. It's so frustrating to me because I know how hard it is to do this work, and you want the right guidance. So It shouldn't take 18 months of doing the same thing and not getting any results. Such a bummer for her, right? So if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again and you're not getting results, what are you doing? Whether it's with a coach, a therapist, a lawyer, if they want you to do the same thing over and over and over again, run, stop doing that. You're not getting a result. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. The next part is the resiliency builder. So once we've got your communication dialed in based on your situation, your family, your children, pouring unconditional love into them, about them, their stuff, then we're going to learn how to manage your stress with our resiliency builder system. And we're going to use examples of how other parents have done this. And this is really important because if you're sticking to something and it's not working, that's not resiliency, right? That's getting on the merry-go-round and going around, 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 right? And expecting something different to happen. That's a definition of insanity. So you need to learn how to manage your stress so that you can go the distance and to follow a plan, okay? A plan that works and a plan that is a formula and you plug your stuff into your family dynamic into. Remember, we have the underpinning, the foundation, and now we're building the walls. So now we're rebuilding the house, we're rebuilding. We're in the middle, okay? And then the last step of rebuild is the trust architect, which shows you how to lay the foundation of trust each and every day like clockwork. Trust is a critical component of any healthy relationship. And so many parents are walking on eggshells and they lack confidence to recover their alienated children. And it's because they don't have any pillars of trust. And a lot of children don't trust their alienated parent because the problem still exists. And they're frustrated and confused and angry and suffering. And they have unprocessed grief. And they can't figure out why you guys can't figure it out. And we're going to show you how to build the pillars of trust so that your children can fold back in easily, which brings us to the final phase, the reconnect phase. My favorite part, everybody wants to skip and go here. But so many people fail trying to do reconnection and reunification because they don't have a foundation and they don't have any walls. They're climbing up on the roof, but there's nothing supporting them. So once you have a foundation and you've rebuilt, you started your communication and you have resilience and you're building trust with the pillars in place, then we can kick off the reconnect stage by building the reconnection initiator system. And this allows you to initiate low pressure reconnection fast. So most parents who have achieved some reunification success, many by accident, fumbling and bumbling along with little tidbits right here and there, and they drop the ball because they show up too much, too fast, and they scare the child away. So a lot of parents call us and are confused about what happened. They were having some contact and then the child disappeared. Why? I actually see a couple of professionals that kind of behave this way that are formerly alienated children. And it makes me giggle, right? It's like, I know what that is and it happens. It's like all in and then where did they go? So someone on my team actually who was a formerly alienated child had an aha when I was explaining this step in the roadmap a few weeks ago. And she could understand exactly what I was talking about and what happened and what happens with her, with the alienated child when this gets messed up, when there's no plan, when there's there's a no pressure reunification model. So I get it, you get excited and you're all in. And then the next thing you know, your kids are gone and you don't know what's happening. So of course, we'll guide you through this no pressure reconnection initiator system so that you know exactly what's happening. You'll follow the path, okay? You'll know. And then we help our clients leverage professional support. So what I've been sharing with you today, our unique model called the Professional Ally Blueprint. In other words, lead the professionals to the reunification water and get them lapping up the solution to help you recover your children. And then finally, once and for all, you're actually having a relationship with your child or your children instead of, being stuck in this delusional place you've been stuck in with these people that aren't helping you. And I'll let you in on a little secret. I haven't even mentioned this yet to anyone, but we are actually opening enrollment for professionals so that we can take them through the framework of recovering families and teaching them the proper roadmap from a professional perspective so that they can do what needs to be done to solve it every step of the way with you. And so that's not for you, that's for them. However, I thought I would just put it out here to let you guys know that this is coming, and I'm going to be teaching therapists how to recover children using the proven methods that we have been using over and over and over again for almost 2 decades. And we get court ordered all over the world to recover children. So this is no joke, people. I'm not kidding. I'm not like, oh, I got an idea. This isn't an idea. It's what we do. And wouldn't it be nice if there were trained therapists everywhere doing the right thing from the beginning? Wow. Therapy that actually worked for this family dynamic. Maybe I'll create a new form of therapy and call it reunification therapy. Wouldn't that be funny? Just kidding. I'm going to sneak that in. Maybe I'll be the one to actually create the form of reunification therapy. Anyways, just being funny. The final step of our Reconnect roadmap, the Alienated Parents Reunification Roadmap, our coaching program, is to ensure that our clients are able to cultivate patience to achieve reunification using the persistence compass system. One of the greatest tragedies in life is how many people get 99% of the way there and turn around and stop, not recognizing that the success is right around the corner. And, not just in this area, we see this in all areas of life, and it's understandable that that would happen here. You've been down the road of unsuccessful attempts over and over and over again to recover your children with no success, and you've been taken advantage of, and you've been lied to, and you've been duped. You've been labeled and shoved into the corner as the victim with no real support or solution. It's disgusting, and you're not alone. We are here for you, and the persistence compass guides you lovingly to where you need to go and back to any of the steps that maybe you feel stuck in to help you clean the cupboard, if you will, so that you can move forward and turn the corner and recover your alienated child. So if you want to get crystal clear on the exact steps that you should follow right now to recover your relationship with your alienated child, then you need a plan. You need a step-by-step process that really takes you from where you are to where you want to be, clearly understanding and defining what that is. And one thing I know to be true is it's really hard to go alone. And that even when you have a plan and all the steps, it's really hard to take them and follow them without support. So in the Reconnect guided program, we've got you covered. Not only am I guiding each week, I'm diving deeply into each step. So you have a coach that will be assigned to you who will be working with you through the specific family issues that you have using the framework. And they're trained and understand the process. And they know the steps. And the road may be bumpy at times. And they're there to hold you and hold the space for you. Okay? And we're here to help you along the way. People have asked me, how can I coach with you? And the truth is that I don't really do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I don't really do any one-on-one coaching because I run the business and I don't have a lot of extra time to do those things. So I'm doing this live every week, not this live, a private live for the people that are enrolled to go deeper in each one of these steps. And we do 3 live training calls a month. And then I do one group healing, integration, and implementation call where you come onto the call with me and the others and other people participating. And I'm going to guide you through a really beautiful healing session that I take my private clients through. I've been taking my private clients through to really get them unstuck so that they can integrate and implement the things that we're teaching you in the roadmap. Because you could have a plan, you could have the plan, you could have the roadmap, but if there's a place where you're stuck or unhealed, you're going to keep getting stuck there. You're going to bump along what I call the deservingness ceiling. And I'm really good. It's one of my superpowers of getting crystal clear on what it is that's going on and opening up that space and helping you heal it once and for all so that you can actually integrate it and then implement the strategies that we use to help our parents reunite. And these powerful sessions, I guide you through this really deep healing, is really to help you remove these blocks, to illuminate these blind spots so you can continue to move forward. They're very powerful sessions and they're focused on the healing and the implementation. And again, this is one of my superpowers. I'm very, very good at seeing things. That's why the Dorsey flashlight is so funny to me. I shine a big light. We're going to take a look at it. No judgment, just is what it is. And then I'm going to guide you to where you need to go, what you need to do in order to implement the steps on the roadmap. There's a weekly live call. There is also online content on the online campus, so you can go back and watch it later. If you can't make a live call, it's no big deal. We do record all the content, and there are worksheets and guides for the roadmap to take you through each step. So we're going to help you with a coach who's it's really a wraparound. We're going to wrap around you, and you've got a coach who's going to help hold you accountable and help you stay the course, helping you achieve the success that you desire. So monthly live healing, integration, and implementation sessions with me. And one more thing that we are also offering while we're going through the 90-day program is you will also get access to the Chosen Parent Collective. So this is where I answer questions for parents just like you. And these are parents who come, they provide questions, I interact, I get really crystal clear, and this is a Q&A session. So I'll really get clear on your specific stuff. So this is an opportunity for me to answer questions live with you about the specificity of your situation. So I just got this email a couple of days from somebody in the collective. Hi, Dorsey. I'm re-watching last week's collective, and I just want to thank you for the time and energy you put into each one of them. They're so helpful. Having this for a tune-up is beyond appreciated. I'm guessing others feel like I do, but I can't hear this stuff enough for reinforcement, and I hear it in different ways as I learn more about myself. So thank you. I love helping parents grow and heal and recover their children. God knows, being a target of the pathology, it's not for the faint of heart. I get it. And yeah, you want to work with somebody who's been here with you, who gets what it's like to be you. I know what works. I've done it myself. I was a formerly alienated child. I'm a targeted parent, was a targeted parent and step parent. I'm a chosen parent. I've seen the pathology from literally every angle. I get it. Not only have I prevented it from taking hold of my family, just before jumping on the call today to teach, my eldest child gave me a call, and it's just so nice. She lives on the East Coast, and it's so nice to be connected to my children and to be able to receive a call from her with excitement because one of her childhood friends, who is really like a child to me too, I attended her wedding last year, and she's really a part of, like, she's from her dad's side of the family, if you will. She just had her own baby, and this is someone who, you know, spent a lot of time at my house growing up, and it warms my heart to know that I know what it takes, and I know what it's like, even through the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys of this family dynamic, to have that unbreakable bond and to feel so loved and to be so loving and connected to my children. And I'm so grateful for the ability to stand in my power and in this position, holding this light for you, illuminating the places where you've been stuck. No judgment. We've all been there. So I want to close today with sharing one last thing, which is the difference between people who really reunite and build a relationship that lasts with their alienated children and those who don't. And it's action. And it's not just any old action, it's the right action with the right plan and the right people. So if you just take random action, like the lady I shared with you who spoke with us recently, and how she was emailing once a week, you know, kind of willy-nillying, dripping love, 18 months later, nada, nothing, versus a step-by-step plan where you'll come with exactly where you are, a deeper understanding of your situation, not from the stuckness, but from understanding the stuckness so that you can have your plan, the right plan for your family and the right support. And Reconnect has all of the components to get you across the finish line to recover your beloved child once and for all. So there's one last thing. We take pride in our clients' success, and we want to work with people who want to successfully reunite. So this isn't for everyone. We want to be sure that you're ready to reunite and to put in the work to shift from being targeted parent, victim mindset, to chosen parent, empowered mindset. So if you're committed to healing and improving your relationship with your children, and not just now, but one that sticks with longevity and you can follow a plan, you're open to seeking the professional guidance and support from somebody who has paved the way, who's walked the talk, not just, hey, I got this idea. I've done it time and time and time again. And if you're ready to really invest and make a lifelong commitment to change for the sake of your relationship with your child and really the mental health of you and your family, then schedule a call. My team will put a link in the chat. Schedule a call and speak to somebody on my team. Again, this is not a magic pill. It requires you to follow the process and take the action. It's not for tire kickers or complainers. This is for parents who are ready. So who are really tired of doing things that aren't working, who are sick and tired of dealing with professionals who have done nothing to help them. So if you want to book a call, my team will put a link in the comments. And on that call, they're going to help you get clear on what's holding you stuck. And they'll go through the map, the crystal clear step-by-step strategy so that you can follow that to achieve your reunification goals that you're looking for. So you can reunite with your alienated child once and for all. And lastly, we decided if you would be a good fit for Reconnect, then they'll talk to you about how to enroll in the program and get started right away so that you can work with us. We can wrap our arms around you and your beloved children holding that container. So if it resonates with you, click the link, schedule your strategy session, your free strategy session with a strategist, and we can determine if this is for you or not. So thanks so much for listening. Peace in so you can have peace out. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you next time. Bye for now.